Hello, Sensei. Hello, ministers. I'm not going to be able to be in the class live because of my new job. So instead, I'm going to post this video. Okay. So jumping right in, going into Tony San. I love how he writes about agnosticism, and he writes that most of the time with agnosticism, it's people that say they don't know, they don't want to know, or for him, in his case, he writes, I don't need to know, which I think is awesome. I think it's great. I think after reading this book, I was kind of hesitant myself at first because I don't consider myself an atheist in any way. And after reading the book, I realized that I'm more of an agnostic, and I think that for me, anyways, I can't say for everybody because everybody's different and things, work different for everybody. But I think that for me, agnosticism works. It's more in the middle path, because an atheist is saying, hey, this exists or doesn't exist and they can't prove it. And a religious person saying this exists and they can't prove it either. So, and I think the agnostic is more the middle ground. Tony San also goes on about the Eightfold Path, that it's not meant to be practiced sequentially, and not every aspect of the path is relevant to every issue encountered in life. And I think it's great because he went on and made the different steps of the Eightfold Path relevant to life. And I think that that's what this course is in Buddhism for us, is to make this Buddhism, to make the Eightfold Path relevant to our modern life today. Moving on to Scott San, and I liked his writing because in his writing he was almost kind of giving us warnings or advising us. One of them is beware of those that seek to bend the path for personal enrichment, which I think it's awesome. And it's funny because it reminded me back of my growing up, my Christian days, where there's that scripture that says, "By their acts you shall know them." So be aware of their actions and what they're doing, so that we don't follow people that are just there to enrich themselves, not really there because they care about Buddhism or the path. And then he goes on to write that it's okay to be passionate about not knowing, about saying, I don't know. And I think that this is a very, very powerful statement because it's, we live in a life in a society where, well, you need to know, you should know, why don't you know this? And there's a lot of things that we just don't know, and we'll never know. And just like in the story of the man that gets shot with the arrow, that he wants to know all these things, and the truth is he's gonna die before he knows them. And I think that that was one of the powerful things about this book for me. Pia-san goes on and she talks about death, which is awesome and very brave of her, especially because she recently had a death in the family. I've had, family members that died, and it's hard, and something hard to deal with and talk about, and she does talk about it. And she says that people are upset about death because of this illusion of permanence that we want to sustain. And I think it's a very human nature for us to want things to go forever, especially when they're great and fantastic and we're having good times, or people that we love. Yeah, we want them to be there forever, not realizing that that's not how it's meant to be, and that's not reality. She goes on to say that she went on to write that she spends a large part of her life asleep when working and managing family. And I think that this is true of all of us. How many times we're going through our lives, we're going through the motions, but we're really not there. And I think that this brings us back to where we need to practice awareness, or this is the time where we need to, practice, mindfulness and awareness of where we are. You know what, I'm here at work today, and, I'm typing this report, at this moment, feel the keyboard in our fingertips, and have that awareness of where we are. Or I'm helping this, fellow team member with this project, or today I'm working putting this together, whatever it may be. Bring our take a breath and just bring our awareness back to this moment. And then moving on to Jason San. And Jason San, I've always love his post because it's almost like a kind of a think out of the box post. And he says, beliefs can be true or false. And he goes on to write that that there is value in beliefs here in our relative world. And I think this is a strong statement, and it's true because atheism might work for some people, agnosticism might work for some people, and I think currently in our modern society, anyone that believes gets really thrown under the bus. And we have to really, really realize that we're all different. We're on different stages of the path, and we need to look at people that do believe or do believe in God and look at them and say, well, is it working for them? Is it making them better people? Is it helping them to be more compassionate, more loving, more kind? And if it is, then, applaud them, good for them. And I definitely think that there is a place for everybody, whether it's atheist, agnostic, or a believer. I think that we coexist and we complement each other. And that's all I have for today. Until the next time, thank you so much.